Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Sean. This is the Game Room. We're continuing with Cyberpunk Red and our painting of the Maelstrom. And we've got 4 done so far. Now we're going to do Crusher. Now these are the ones that come in the starter box, the 2-player starter box. So if you grab your paints, you can follow along. Paint your models whatever colors you want. I'm using whatever colors I think look good. And kind of basing it off of their art, but you don't have full body. As we've talked about in some of the other videos, there's not a whole lot of painted model pictures in the book to kind of reference. So we're really kind of on our own, which is fine because it's Cyberpunk and there's really no set paint scheme. So with that, I'm going to put that over here just so I can keep an eye on it. Here's our model. He has a lot of detail. And he's a little bigger than the others, so you can kind of get an idea of scale there. But again, he should not take any longer than the rest of them because we're going to continue to use our speed paints. We're going to use contrast paints and minimal regular paints, mostly army painter stuff, just because that's what I have a lot of. So let's go ahead and start with the skin. And I'm debating on, based off of the picture, he's wearing an undersuit that's all black. So I would assume that would go down to his hands. So if I was to follow along, all of this, which looks like it would be almost metal, up to his hands. So the question is are his hands open? Open as in, are they inside of a glove or not? And really give us the opportunity to decide what we want to do. I think I'm going to go with they are. Because he is a melee combat specialist, so he's going to have a lot of metal, a lot of augmentations, so assume that would be a black under shirt of some sort. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started with where are we at? 2:50. We're almost 3 minutes in. Let's go ahead and start with the skin, because that we know we're going to need to do first. You can see even his neck is augmented, so I'm going to assume that pretty much the rest of him is as well. Alright, next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and use our... Now, I'm sorry, I didn't tell you. For that first part, we did Barbarian Flesh, pretty much what we have been. Now we're going to use our Grim Black speed paint. And that's just going to go anywhere you think that the undershirt would be. And then we're going to let this dry, and then we'll come back with metallic over it to fill in all the metal. Okay, so what I've done is I went ahead and painted even some of the metal parts black, and I'll go back over those metal parts with metallic, but wanted to make sure I got the black everywhere I wanted it to go before it dries, so that way when I come back over the silver, then I'm just touching up with whatever I want. So let's move on to the next color while we let that dry. Alright, for his pants, since we don't know what color they're going to, I'm going to use a Gunner Camo, just because it's a nice green, I guess. I don't really know what it's going to look like. Let's find out. If it sucks, well, then we'll go back and fix it. Now with the speed paints, I don't know if we've talked about those, you want to put them on a little heavier because they're designed to run down into the crevices and make them darker, so that you don't have to go back and do multiple layers. You can do it ultimately with just one shot from a speed paint, just one coat, and good. Same thing, kind of similar to how contrast paints work. And I'm not going to do all this metal. That's going to be a different color. So we will finish our green up, and we'll be done in a few minutes. Okay, next up we're going to use the Plate Mail Metal Metallic. This is not a speed paint. This is just another one of Army Painter's line. And now we're going to go. Now this is not a speed paint, so it will cover better. And it is much thicker, and it's brighter than the gunmetal we've been using. Just show you the difference here. You can kind of, well, maybe you can't really tell on the pictures, but it's like the next step up. Then there's also like what's the last one? Platinum silver or shining silver, which is really bright. But we'll do the plate metal. And then we're going to come back and we'll put a wash over it, which will darken it back down just a touch. So for this, over any metal parts that you want to get covered, like all these breastplates, and this will cover better, so it'll cover up anywhere you got the speed paint on it that you didn't necessarily want speed paint, but we go for speed on this channel. This is how I paint for. I paint for speed to get things done as quickly as possible. 3-foot tabletop is what I'm after. If it looks good from 3 feet, which is why the pictures don't look immaculate, guys. But they're not going to. I mean, I'm not detailing everything. I don't paint eyeballs. So but if you want to get your stuff painted and on the table quickly, then this is a channel for you, because that's what we do. And we're just finding ways to get stuff done fast and on the table. If you want to paint, for competition, there are some fantastic painters out there. And most of them are on YouTube. You can get all sorts of great tips, hints, things like that from them. Okay, I needed to clean out and switch back to my other brush. Still continuing with the silver. This is by far taking the longest, but he's got a lot of silver on him. Okay, I need to go back to the camo green because, as I think I mentioned in a previous one, I always forget the belt loops. I'm going to go back and get those. Okay, for the belt and some of the straps, I'm going to use snakebite leather. But before I do that, I need to touch some of it up because it's a contrast paint and it won't cover some of the darker stuff. So I'm going to use my gray sear to start with, and I'm just going to go back and touch up a few areas where I may have gotten other paint just to make sure that it's ready for the snakebite leather. Like this bandage right here. I won't do this one snakebite leather, but this looks like a big bandage on his leg. Actually, I'm not 100% sure what that is on his leg. Maybe because it's got a strap going around it. Maybe that's just like a leather piece of armor going around his leg, since metal. Maybe, I don't know. We'll decide what it is here shortly as we start painting it. Okay, now the contrast snakebite leather. I'm sure Army Painter's got something similar. I don't know what it is. I don't have all the Army Painter paints. But I'm going to use this on his belt here. And these pouches here in the back. I'm gonna go with, this is, I don't know what this is. I really don't know what this is. Okay, I need to go back to the our silver, our plate mail silver, because I need to do the eyes up here. Now I still have the wrist blades here, which we need to do, and we can get my larger brush for that. I'm going to come back and do those stripes with the snakebite leather. Okay. Alright, a couple little details. I'm going to use bright gold metallic he's got this little star on his belt buckle that I want to get. This will just break up some of that silver. Okay, and then I'm going to use Demonic Yellow. This is from the Army Paints the Air Color Triad series. Any bright yellow would do. I just happen to have this one handy. And this one I want to touch up the eyes, just to give them a little bit of an effect, like they're turned on, like so. Alright, right back. Okay, we're going to use the flesh wash to go ahead and wash what little flesh he has. It's going to basically just be on his head. Okay. Okay, I believe these pads around his legs they look like an armor, like a Kevlar. So I'm going to, I just had to phone a friend to have them confirm what I was thinking it might be, some type of padding. So there we go, we're going to go with that. So I'm going to paint it black. And so I did go back to the Grim Black Speed Paint to do these pads. Okay, so now we're going to do a wash. I'm going to use the dark tone, and I'm going to thin that down a little bit with water. Not a ton, but I do want to thin it down a little bit. So I'm going to get a brush full of water here, and just so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Another brush full of water, and I'm just mixing that together. I don't want it to turn the armor black, which the dark wash will do if you allow it to. It'll make it very dark. But I just want to basically, I want to keep the silver, but I want it to fill in all those little crevices like that, so it will show that detail. And it's okay if you get this on the black underneath, because, well, it was black. So anywhere we painted our metal, we're going to hit it with our dark wash. Alright, we're going to let that dry. Okay, with that, with that wash, we can pretty much call him done. I do want to do one more thing just because. I'm going to do a dry brush of the silver that we've been using on the black suit, just to give it a metallic sheen. Now, a dry brush is, you get a very stiff brush. This happens to be an Army Painter hobby dry brush. You're going to load it with paint. So as you can see here, I'm going to load it up. Okay. And then you're going to take a paper towel and you're going to wipe most of it off, to where just remnants remain. And then you're going to flick it very quickly over the area you want to be that color. And really just want to give that black suit a little bit of a, he's not fastened to his base, that's why he's moving. Let's look at this arm over here. Okay. Just to give it a little bit of a metallic sheen. To let you know he is metal all over. And if you want to brighten up some of the metal pieces that we washed, you can do that too. Maybe just a little bit right here. Okay. And that's pretty much it. We could We could do the gun on his back, just to brighten that up just a touch. Alright, and we can call him done. We need to do the base, and we'll come back and take a look here in just a moment. Okay, so there he is, based and complete. Now, you can do more with this model to do more highlights or other things to it, but from 3 foot tabletop distance, he's going to look fantastic on the tabletop. So, yeah, he was cool. He took a little longer. He's a bigger model. The silver took a long time. We're at 42 and a half minutes is where I am. This video will be much shorter than that, but you get the idea of how fast you can get a model painted. And again, I did have to pause. So, if you're like me, put on a movie. It's not hockey season yet, so I don't have a hockey game on. But when, put something on that you can just chill back and watch and let things dry while you're waiting. Or, if you're not filming them, like I am, move on to the next model. You can paint all of these, you could paint all of these similar colors in an afternoon, get them all done. No reason to play with, gray models. Because, that's part of what this video series is about, is showing you how quickly and how easy it is. You don't have to have a ton of skill you don't have to have, 5 million paints, even though it looks like I do. I don't use all of these, folks. As you can see from, the palette that we've been using, I only use, a couple handfuls of colors. And the only reason I'm mixing them up is just to vary it a little bit, just to give you some different options, but so you can kind of see things. But, you don't need a ton. You don't need super fancy, the Kolinsky super sables and all those. I use the Ghost, or the ones that I got because I was in on the Kickstarter. Otherwise, I use the Army Painter brushes. They work just fine. They're not super expensive. Pick them up at your local gaming store for about, I think I probably paid like $13 for 3 brushes. Some of, depending on which set you get a dry brush and a couple of decent brushes. I tend to use just 2 different sizes when I do most of my painting. And I wear my brushes out until they're toast, because most people I know don't have a full setup. They're not painters. They just don't want to play with, great models. But they're very intimidated by some of those really cool, paint schemes that they watch. You watch some of the other guys who do videos. Some of it's fantastic, guys. I mean, and you can get to that skill level. You absolutely can if you want to put the time in and do it. I've been painting for a long time, and I'm down to the point where I have paint like that. If you go back and look at my Infinity series, I did do some airbrushing, things like that, and at some point I'll get back into the airbrush. But for me, it's more about, I just want to get them to the table as quickly as possible. And then in talking to other people at the game store, they were like, well, really don't know where to begin, don't know what to do. I was like, well, here's what I do. And then I was like, well, you should record that so that we have something to follow along with. So again, this series is really designed for people who are new, or you just want to get stuff done fast. And it's just to kind of show you, here's what you can accomplish quickly without spending, hours and hours doing multiple layers, things like that. Contrast paints, speed paints are fantastic. So anyway, I'm going to shut up. I'm going to stop talking. This video is really long now. As always, I'll post some pictures. Please like, subscribe, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Are you enjoying this series? We are going to do another faction, so that way I can have at least 2 painted factions before I can get, before I show you what they look like on the table. But I'll show you what they do look like on the table, so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about. 3 foot tabletop distance, they will look awesome. So anyway, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, drop a comment down below. And as always, find us on Facebook at The Game Room, Texas Gamer Geeks, and have a wonderful evening. Bye now.